Hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where last time we finished up the second case of the game, which was the Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro, and I wanted to commit the big die because it was, not that great. It wasn't horrible. Well, I mean, it wasn't among the worst of the worst in terms of Ace Attorney, although it's really hard to be the worst of the worst in Ace Attorney when Apollo Justice is a game that exists, but, you know, it's a topic for a different day in a few months from now. So, anyway, the point being, it wasn't a great case, but I'm hoping that this case will be much better than that one. This is the return of the great departed soul, and we're just gonna jump straight in and see what this is gonna all be about. So without further ado, let's dive into case 3. Oh, wait, before we do that, one more thing to mention. I did see some comments in the last case that people weren't a big fan of the costumes, and I'd be fine with the costumes, because I really like Ryunosuke's look, and I really like Susato's new look. Erlock Sholmes is just, I mean, I'm not really a fan of his base design anyway, so I would have been fine if he stayed that way with the new costume for the rest of the game. But a lot of people said they weren't a big fan of the costumes in the comments, so I disabled them so you don't have to look at them anymore. So they'll be back to their normal outfits. I would have been fine with Ryunosuke and Susato's outfits were it not for the fact that the animations didn't actually account for their clothing, and Susato looked like she was sunburned under her arm because they didn't account for that, I guess. I don't know why the lighting on that was so screwed up. Anyway, so we're just going to dive straight into Case 3, The Return of the Great Departed Soul. Let's get into this.
The grand end-of-the-century Great Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter.
Meaning we did all the work for him.
From the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case.
Oh, did he now?
And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Thanks, though.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment. Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
So it's a teleporter? Because instantaneous kinesis is instant movement, so I'm assuming it's a teleportation device.
Be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location.
That would be exactly what this is.
Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations, exactly as it was before.
So this sounds like death. Is what this sounds like a bad idea. Yeah, so he's dead. Like he's super dead. I mean, the animation's impressive. The animation's actually very impressive. But that guy's like super dead.
These gentlemen will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you! Yes.
The animation is like really, really impressive. But he's not gonna survive this.
Yes.
That sure is a laugh to have, or not a laugh. That's a scream. Oh, okay. Okay, that's how you want to start. Okay, so that's the thing. Is that this October 22nd? That doesn't sound right. Okay, so what I was gonna say. Literally, like, the first thing I was going to say when we loaded in was that this case is based on the Great Exhibition, which, for those of you who don't know, the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations, or I think it was, that was like an actual exhibition that took place in 1851. It was from May 1st to October 15th, 19... No, not 19. Did I say 19? I meant to say 18. If I said 19, I meant to say 18. From May 1st to October 15th of 15... I almost said it again. Of 1851... there was an actual great exhibition which took place at the at the temporary Crystal Palace in Hyde Park in London, which is exactly where it was taking place in the opening cutscene. So it's actually pretty cool that we're going to be able to see the proper great exhibition for what it is in this game. However, unless they're going to say that this is taking place after the exhibition, which it could be because it's October 22nd, which is pretty convenient for time-wise because that would be exactly 1 week after the final day of the exhibition. If they want this to take place during the exhibition itself, they kind of missed the mark by about 5 months. So, not sure if that's a mistake or not, because it seems weird that they nailed all the other details about the case except the date in which it takes place. That would seem weird. Which, I mean, I get, to be clear, I understand that it's, you know, it's referring to an actual historical event, but it can change certain things for the sake of the game. I understand that. I just find it strange that they would change, like, it seems like a really minor thing to change, which, you know, the opposite end of that is obviously because it's so minor, it doesn't actually impact anything. At least I don't think it would, but it just seems strange. I don't know, I'm just gonna keep going. It probably only bothers me. And for all I know, it could actually be taking place after the exhibition is over, but that's just the small details that bother me.
Bruno, are you listening?
Oh, sorry, what was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again?
Today's paper. It's full of news about the Great Exhibition again.
Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. No, okay, so it is... I'd like to go sometime. So it is taking place during the exhibition. That's weird. Like, look, to be clear, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's just... they're allowed to change the dates for the purpose of their game. It just kind of bugs me that it just, like... It seems like such a strange thing to change. I don't know. Because they nailed all the other aspects of it thus far that I've seen thus far about what the Great Exhibition was, and it seems weird to change that. I promise I'll shut up about it now.
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Oh, great. I can't wait to hear the input from... Oh, it's great. Oh, is Sholmesy boy feeling the big sad again? Did you say something, Iris?
Oh, gosh. You're even more down.
I think he looks about exactly the same amount of down as he did in the last case of the first game. Oh, dear God. Oh, and now he's dead. Oh, no, he's not. Now he's back up again. When did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? I live here with you. I've been here for about half an hour already. No. More than that. You live here. You live upstairs in this building with Sholmes and Iris. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I thought you might have known I was here, you know, because breakfast. Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all unruly spikes. Clearly it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me just stop you there, Mr. Sholmes. I think I see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Didn't you say this in the last case before we flashback? Didn't you also try to say something about my hair last time? I feel like you did. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Ah, thanks again. It caused me monitor recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I'm wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh, well that explains why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
And then he's back to feeling... He took his chance to dunk on me, now he's back to feeling the big sad again. Did you say something, Iris? What's got him in the dumps this time? Back to moping. Did you lose another musical instrument? I hope not, because I don't want to deal with another pawn shop place. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know. And the Great Exhibition is... Oh, I know, and the Great Exhibition is open. You think you'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go to see it together?
I want to, of course I do, but I can't. Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all, and therefore you can't take an hour break to go to the Great Exhibition. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from? Is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley.
Ah, get dunked on by Iris. Expose! I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Do we need to, though? Can't we just let him sulk? I guess we gotta find out what's going on. Alright. Event 6 months ago. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in the trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. Yeah, so this is kind of what I'm concerned about, is if they're just gonna instantly revert him back to being a lawyer again. That's got some Danganronpa 3 Athena Sykes being shifted to the Reserve Course Department and then immediately back to the main course department over the course of a single... No, sorry, not even over the course of a single, between episodes, to the point where it makes you wonder why they even kicked her out at all, so I'm hoping it's not going to be like that. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time to research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you, Bruno? Reading all those big, fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases.
Brewing Iris a special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't think you get to boss me around, considering the fact that we've been the one that's been saving your ass from cases constantly. I'm thinking of going to ask the powers to be that reconsider. Specifically, Lord Strongheart of the British Supreme Court at Whitehall. Ah, because he's such a reasonable person. Don't you know?
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice? Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer that I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. Okay. The whole of London has been told to be this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching for the... Yeah, so this is the start... So they've just shifted... They just shifted it forward 6... That's weird. That's such a weird detail. Like, I know I said shut up about it, but it's really irking me, because it literally doesn't impact anything, because it's its own continuity. I guess I'm just baffled, like, of all things to change, why the date of the exhibition. Look down, do you mean those things that fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all. Oh, you poor unfortunate soul.
That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first, but in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge.
They've made a big deal in this game so far about new forensic science techniques, so I'm guessing that's going to be a major player in the story later. I suppose they might be.
Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. It was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are,
says the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. By the way, you got over your depression real quick there, buddy. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Okay, interesting. Shadows cast behind, is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Wow, could you have not found any less of a subtle way to tell me to look at the back of the paper? Okay. Lost cat of this, yeah, alright, there's the case. We found our case. Find the lost cat above all else. The top priority, must find the lost cat. I can't read, public health reports. Something or other. Can't read that. King Christian reverses ruling. Awards. What is that? The text is so tiny. Awards prize to Michelle, I think? Yeah, this text is very pixelated. I mean, clearly we're supposed to read that the Reaper was attacked. I saw that clearly. But I don't think, considering he has a sword in his sheath, I don't think anything can actually kill him, so I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more interested by the other blobs of text that I literally can't read and probably won't be able to, but you know. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there, other than this rather gloomy looking one, that is. Wait, what?
What's the matter, Bruno?
Okay, so that's clearly Von Zeke's, but who's the guy next to him? The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Von Zeke's. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? Well, he may not be very bright, but he's clearly very knowledgeable in terms of what the hell is going on with everything that's happening in this game, so we'll find out more later. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Hurley.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood. Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. Sholmes? You want to think back to some of the things you said over the past few cases? And then think about what you just said now with the context of those previous cases? You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes? Never mind, once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. That's why you've dawdled around with us? That was a deep sigh. Okay, well, before you go, you have any thoughts on the fact that the Reaper was attacked? It says in the paper that Lord Von Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Barak Von Zeeks. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. Well, that's obviously not true, because Mr. Soseki Natsume is a living contradiction to that assertion. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. It'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. Even if a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Von Zeeks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. And now, how is he still... He brought a sword to a gunfight and he won. What? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? But aren't you the great all-knowing Mr. Sholmes? Ooh.
Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Von Zeeks in this condition, I'll be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition.
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Let me guess, the one we have to go visit? Yeah, what a coinky-dink. Well, I guess now he's dressed for action. Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you'd be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Aha! Well then, see you later indeed. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell. Listen to him, he's still laughing on his way out of the door. Okay. Yeah, you suddenly donned a Mickey Mouse ears and, like, a nightgown thing?
Alright then,
At least, I guess maybe I'm just thinking because it's the color purple, but it looks like a nightgown now.
alright then, Runo, let's get going.
Oh, Iris, what are you wearing?
I got changed to go to the Great Exhibition.
In less than 5 seconds.
You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well that sounds fun too.
No, it doesn't. No. I promise you, there's more fun things for a 10-year-old to be doing than going to the goddamn Supreme Court. Also, why is there a knife sticking out of the wall? I just noticed this. Why is just a random knife sticking out of the back wall of this room? I don't know. Also, are you threatening to spray me with your hairdryer blood analysis gun thing? Oh no, I'm quaking in me boots. Alright then, just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course, and at the Supreme Court, well then we'll go to see the Great Exhibition.
I like how we've just been reduced to babysitting duty. That's lovely. Alright, well, I guess we're headed off to the Lord Chief Justice's office. I am very curious to see how they're going to resolve this one. By which I mean, I'm really hoping that they don't go down the Danganronpa 3 route of just, oh, look, you got your job back. So, that's pretty neat. October 22nd, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Iris? Are her shoes clipping through the floor? I think her shoes are clipping through the floor. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. You know, if all you wanted to do was read, you could have just stayed home on the couch where it'd be comfortable. You didn't need to lie down on the floor of this place, but you do you, I suppose.
Oh, I love this place. I found so many interesting books here.
Haven't you only been here once? I'm pretty sure the only time you were here was when we found out that Susato was leaving to Japan and they were going to rip her away from us. At which point I think you probably would have been more concerned with, you know, the fact that she was leaving than you would have been by perusing the bookshelves for a new book. But, okay, I guess that's a thing. Of course, I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. Yep, I remember. When Susato-san was given the news that she was returned to Japan.
Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me.
Hello there. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well?
Let's see. Since you arrived and requested audience, it's been 4 hours.
You kept me waiting for 4.5 hours?
26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
You feel no remorse for us whatsoever. Don't lie to us. Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space.
Good to know.
That sarcasm, right over your head. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mayor Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status.
As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime, and furthermore, as of next month, we shall be open the International Forensic Science Symposium.
Oh, I've not heard about that.
Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it.
Yeah, you really wanted to embrace it a lot in the previous cases.
As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it.
I think you can take 10 minutes out of your day to come talk to us when we arrive, but okay. Okie dokie. Well, it's nice to know where I stand.
So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about.
Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens. Yeah, I can wait.
Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
Yeah, we can wait to talk about the attack. I wanna know how you're gonna resolve this plot line, which came out of nowhere in this game. I actually came here today to ask for your permission.
Go on.
6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system, and I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? Here it comes.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role.
Yeah, my intended role was to not be here at all, but my compatriot and the person who was supposed to take my place here is dead. Well, I mean, it's not. I don't think he's actually dead. It'd be insane if he actually was. With how prominent he is in the marketing and on the cover art, there's no way he's actually. I don't know how he survived, but given the autopsy report being vague, he's probably gonna crop back up. In fact, he might even show up in this case, right? Right? Yep, that's what it is. Because the first case of the first game was called The Avenger of the Great Departure, and this was called The Return of the Great Departed Soul. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's exactly what this is. He's gonna come back in this case in some capacity. But so my point being, he's not here anymore. He can't fill the role, so your choices are me or nothing. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on the study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Asogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished.
His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling?
Sorry?
The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was?
What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. Didn't Kazuma tell you he had a mission to, or a purpose to fulfill? When he came here?
Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions.
Do you mean...
As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Really? Just like that? Really? That's what I was afraid. Okay, so... This is, for those of you who have not seen my Danganronpa 3 series, you should. I'm very proud of it. Basically, there's a plot line in episode 5 of the Despair arc, where a character whose name I don't actually know, but I call her Athena Sykes because she looks like Athena Sykes. There's a plot line where she gets mixed up in a situation that gets her booted out of the main teaching department and she gets shifted to the reserve course department. But the time she spends in this reserve course department is entirely off camera. 6 months go by, and then in the next episode, she's back in the main course department like nothing happened at all. And it's basically one for one what happened here. Is Rinosuke did a thing in the final case of the first game. We skip ahead 6 months. We don't actually see the consequence, like we don't see how this affects him. And then at the start of this case, he's just brought back into the... Really? Like, this just makes me wonder what the point of having him disbarred, or not disbarred, but temporarily banned from the courtroom was even... Like, what was even the point of it if you were just going to bring him back instantly anyway? I don't know. That's such a weird choice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful news, Runo.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback.
Oh, do you now? What a quinky dink.
You'll consider it, I hope.
Is it another mess of yours that I have to clean up? I'm gonna guess it's another mess of yours that I have to clean up. You described it as a curious affair?
Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday?
Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How is it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think. Instantaneous kinesis as in moving things with a click of the fingers? That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need. A dash of devil-may-care.
Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris' imagination.
It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Ass... I know that doesn't say... I know it's only one S, not two, but I'm calling him Ass Man. Mr. Odie Ass Man, an investor and a well-known figure in society.
A large explosion?
A man died?
In an Ace Attorney game? No.
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Hare.
Professor Albert Harebrain. Yep. That sure is the name of the mad scientist.
He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation, as per usual.
The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder? I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still.
We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely. Alright then.
Yes, one more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper.
Oh yeah, speaking of him, word on the street is there was a little scuffle that he got into with someone. With Lord Van Zeeks? How?
I'm sure we'll hear about that after I present in the newspaper. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to conclude with or coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Yeah, one would think. Exactly.
Ah!
London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate, so it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly, the future of policing.
Ah!
Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear, that's alarming.
Exactly, it's extremely alarming.
Ah!
If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to form a claim. Ah, that's okay. You don't need to go through all those.
Sorry?
By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. Oh no, you don't need no. You don't need to do that, buddy. I promise you. We don't have all day. We don't need to. It all began 15 years ago. No, you don't need to. Are we seriously gonna? Oh, we're falling asleep. Is he seriously gonna? Okay. I guess we're dozing off.
6.5 hours later.
Yep, we're still going. We're still going. Really? We sat here and listened to all of this?
And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's wonderful. Please don't quiz me on anything you just said, because I definitely fell asleep.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be.
Thanks for the support, Iris. Iris isn't paying any attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Thanks for the moral support.
Oh, is it over? Is there anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Okay, let's never do that again. But before we leave, you have anything to say about this? Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this?
The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course.
No, not that. The story on the back page.
What story?
Also, we had to wait 4 hours for him to show up, but he had time to rant off about all his individual hundreds of reasons about his mission. He had time for that, but he had to wait 4 hours to see us. This must be a real jam-packed schedule.
The Reaper attacked. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper, what's happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks will not be so easily dispatched. I don't know, man. He brought a sword to a gunfight. I don't know how he could have possibly survived.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well. And if it interests you.
It does, strangely.
Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed.
I don't believe that at all.
Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
Yeah, but he has a sword and they have guns. Long range beats close range, buddy. But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money?
A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems.
Okay, well that shouldn't matter at all, because we learned in case 3 that the jury's input can be easily overturned by the judge in the end, so don't think that would really matter.
However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Assman.
Did you just say Assman?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes. Known publicly as an investor, in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Try me.
Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with a mysterious ends outside the courtroom. Well, not all of them, because obviously Jean is still around, and so is Soseki. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here. Is there? Because I thought we made it pretty clear that Soseki survived the Reaper both times, and Gina went to prison for what she did, but she was still found not guilty on the charge of murder, which is the case in which he was actually prosecuting. So, is there something going on there? I don't think so.
I have Van Ziek's work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. That's a pretty good reason. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trial has nothing to do with him. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of on his side here. I don't see how there's any, like, correlation isn't causation. All we need to prove is that there's instances in which it's not always true, and we can, so your theory isn't really foolproof here. But that doesn't make any sense. How can you explain the way so many died if not by someone's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer, so he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
Alrighty then.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 60...
How are you... Did we spend 11 hours in here listening to you ramble on about what... Oh, okay.
My colleagues may be starting to fidget.
Yeah, maybe, after 11 hours of waiting. That's quite something.
The meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now?
I would assume he's at his office.
Right, I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Hairbrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. I hope it doesn't get revealed that there was all some kind of harebrained scheme. But Tish, I'm funny. Please laugh. Okay. New location. We can either go to the prison and talk to our client, or talk to Van Zieks at his office. We'll save this for we'll save this one for last. We'll go talk to Harebrain first. October 22nd, local prison, cell 11. The warden said cell 11. That's this one. Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look. What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain. Your name is Doc Brown.
Who are you?
I'm Reno Skinarahodo, I say, as I don't give him even a remotely similar Doc Brown voice. I just give him
a weird, nerdy voice. A lawyer?
Was it something I said?
A lawyer, you say? Well, would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis?
I'm not interested in proving your... No?
Yesterday's...
I'm here for your innocence, not your hypothesis.
Yesterday's demonstration. The demonstration was... That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations.
I don't think it was a success by Assman's calculations. I think... Also, I'd like to point out, there actually is a character in the Ace Attorney universe now who's canonically named Assman. That's a meme name I gave to the Amazing Mr. Hat, because Trucy literally pulls him out of her ass every time he's summoned onto the screen. But that guy's name, is he in the profiles yet? Let's check. He is. Odie Ass. There's literally a character who's named Assman. I thought this joke writes itself.
But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity.
Alright, try me. I'm all ears. I'm all ears for the science. Now it's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too. Alright, well, let's get into it. Lay it on me, buddy. Hit me with whatever you got. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in an explosion, didn't he? Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense. The experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success.
You lost me.
I saw it with my own eyes. Right there in front of me. Mr. Assman was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted.
Yeah, except for the part where he disintegrated, but you know.
At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However...
The machine exploded and Mr. Assman in fact perished?
Yes, I can't deny...
Wait, if the machine exploded, how did he not die too? Because in the cutscene we saw, he was standing right next to the machine. I feel like he should probably be super dead as well. So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Assman was an accident, correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for the man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that I wish to be punished at once.
Turning himself in, or I guess not turning himself in, but admitting that he's not trying to hide anything. He's like, yep, my machine caused this man's death. I deserve to be held accountable for that. However, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it, so, charge me accordingly and all that. I respect this guy. We got a fellow scientific nerd here. We can see eye to eye on the realm of science, which is apparently a foreign concept in this realm of Ace Attorney. So it's nice. But murder, never in a million years. It was an accident, simply an accident. I see. Hurley and I were talking this morning, He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder. Really? Really? You don't say. I think there might be a small difference in punishment between someone accidentally leading to someone's death, such as involuntary manslaughter, and attempt and, first-degree murder. Maybe minor difference, this small, tiny little difference between those two things. How exactly do you need to be told? Didn't you just spend the past 6 months studying law? Well, if it really was an accident, the Progressive machine would be kept in protective custody. Oh, is that the distinction? Oh, is that the difference that matters? Oh, okay, I guess that's the important thing that would be different between those two situations. On what grounds?
Yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over as much as they like.
I don't know that should be your concern right now, but okay.
If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea that my person's hypothesis will be stolen.
Okay, one, shouldn't you have patented this before? Second, I don't think that should be where your head's at right now, buddy. I think there are more pressing issues you need to concern yourself with. I see now. Okay, let's keep on chatting away. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes, or rather no, the devil's in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating! Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds, so it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see. That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
And the next in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach.
So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days?
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really be seen vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk.
Iris, are you really going to talk to me about the drawbacks of instantaneous teleportation? That would be an immeasurably useful tool for us. That would be insanely valuable.
My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean?
It means you can get to places faster. It's nothing but a good thing.
Oops. That's got Professor Bunny Brain really worried about the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. We're not doing Jurassic Park here. We're just doing teleportation.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works.
Yeah, well, are you sure about that? Because a man exploded yesterday.
Well, without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. That's always the fly in the ointment.
Yeah, proving that your calculations can actually work is a pretty important step there, buddy.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
Really? The great detective isn't funded enough to do things? Crazy.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Assman.
The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? I expected it to put me on the second one so I could move down once to the third one, but it did not. It automatically set me onto the third one. So I did not expect that one to go the way it did. Okay. Well then, let's try this. Alright, can you stop yammering on about how you're gonna lose your super machine already? Please? Thank you very much. Okay. Let's try this again. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Assman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man?
He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars.
I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then?
Money for scientific research? I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for a presentation at the Great Exhibition, and if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Assman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications.
So he provided the machine.
But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Assman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Yeah, I think this game's already pulled its my client's actually guilty thing once already. I don't think they'll try it again. All right. Well, we appear to be out of things to talk to him about. So I guess now it's time to go to Van Zieg's office. Yep, this sure is his office, alright. I think if you asked me to describe what would his office look like, I feel like you're probably gonna guess reasonably well. Medieval castle, swords on the wall, a cabinet of champagne bottles, and a giant portrait of himself. Yep, that's Van Zieg's office, alright.
Ooh, is this the legendary Reaper's office?
Yes, it appears so.
Such a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deadly atmosphere.
Oh, is that? Hey, buddy. I hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed her presence. I wonder who it is.
What are you doing here?
Ah! Hello, Van Ziegs. Is this the first time we've seen you outside the courtroom? I think so. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well.
I am.
Somehow. So, who's the person over by the wall being, punished for something or other?
No punishment is taking place here.
Oh.
That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will.
I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper.
He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage.
Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself, assuming, that is, that such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms.
Alrighty then. We have some... Oh, wait, actually, I got a comment saying that I'm supposed to present my armband to Van Zieks for some reason. I don't know why, but we're gonna do it. Because someone told me to, and that's how these things work. I know you've seen this around my arm before, but
what is it exactly?
It's a mark of a defense lawyer, in Japan at least, which I still have, even though I haven't been practicing law for the past 6 months, but, you know.
And what's your reason for showing it to a British prosecutor?
Oh, well, I don't know, really.
I can understand, at least, that there's merit in reminding yourself of who helped you become what you are today.
Oh.
But that's a personal matter. Something you may want to keep close at all times, not something to flaunt.
No, I suppose not. Thank you for understanding, though. Inspirational Roots awarded. Is that it? Oh. I guess that was the whole thing. Alrighty then. Not exactly how it was corrected. Not all exactly was corrected to be, but anyway, let's get to talking to him. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of a revenge attack?
True. Carried out by henchmen of Odi Asman's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably some hope to kill him before that happened.
Odi Asman?
He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor, but his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Assman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
No, I don't. Well, no, that does seem like a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be an instant of this particular death at least.
It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, with what with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him?
Oh, yes, that's right. I thought I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
Albert. Albert Hairbrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance? In case you can tell, I'm a little tired right now. I'm recording this very late at night because I didn't get the chance to do it today. But I didn't want to delay any further with releasing videos daily. So it's a bit late, but we're getting through it. Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university. Oh! Huh. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's interesting because they went to university together, but it's doubly interesting because it implies that Van Zieks has friends, which, that's an interesting thing to think about. What? Yeah, I was just as surprised as you, Iris, don't worry. I'd understood that Professor Harebrayne was from Germany, though. Harebrayne's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all. So you were students together? I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form, and with you, of all people, representing him. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me, which is something that I only decided about 2 minutes ago when you said you were going to be defending him. By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor have been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper's a prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's
Except for Soseki-san and Gina, but okay. I'm very baffled that people think this is a thing when we have evidence to the contrary. What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I am a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod. Shocking.
But they've all died, haven't they?
They have not all died. Iris, you know they haven't all died. Gina is still alive and so is Soseki-san.
Whether or not the trial ended...
You know they're still alive.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society.
They're obviously not. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. Hey, remember the last case when you actually helped me prove Soseki was innocent at the end there? Yeah, okay. But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
Nor was Ginny. In fact, she's ever so hardworking now.
Isn't she in prison right now? Because that was the whole thing, is at the end of the game, like, she was found innocent of murder, but she still gave false testimony, so she's probably still in prison right now.
I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn, but the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh!
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say...
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor.
But if putting you in danger, you could be killed!
If that is my fate, let God decide.
Lord Van Zieks... Okay, so we're starting to get a tiny glimpse into his personality, but it's still going to be an uphill battle to make me like this guy. I feel like the more I play, the less I like him. Anyway, here you go. Please enjoy. Lord Van Zieks, about the article in this paper.
Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you run away, though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. Guessing it's that guy over there. And I think it's the same man who was sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Like, I don't know, the favorite color, favorite food, anything?
He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor, so you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Well, I mean, we could say that, but we will say that because you said that.
Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Bruno.
I don't remember taking any apprenticeship with a great detective.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask?
On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face. Or did it... Alright, calling now, that's Kazuma. We're gonna call this right now, that's Kazuma.
No way in hell. They make a big deal about someone wearing a mask whose identity is unknown if that doesn't end up being Kazuma. No chance in hell that's not Kazuma. We're gonna call that right now. In fact, yep, you know what? It's exactly who it is. You know why? Because earlier in the game, Kazuma, there was a flashback with Kazuma where he was like,
Hey, if you become a lawyer, then one day we might...
never mind. And it's implied he was going to say, hey, one day we'll be facing off against each other, which you'd think would be weird because if we were supposed to be the defense lawyer and he's also a defense lawyer, we wouldn't really have a reason to cross paths that often. But if he were to become a prosecutor, as is implied here because he's under his tutelage, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more plausible. And it starts to make a lot more sense. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right. Oh. Hi there, buddy. You wouldn't happen to remember me, would you? Or are you not allowed to say that you know who we are? I assume not, because your identity has to be kept a secret.
The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
Yeah, that's absolutely Kazuma. That is abso-positively Kazuma. Nice to meet you. Oh, we've met. We've certainly met. Okay, bye. And he's back. Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet... somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh. I see. That sounds like he's trying to... that sounds like he has some kind of control over his mind. Which sounds dumb for an Ace Attorney game, but... there wouldn't... Kazuma's a lot more... like... self-reliant than that. I don't think he'd be so easy to sway unless he has some kind of control over his mind. To the point where he'd be like... cover your face so no one can see who you are. And also be like, hey, don't talk to anyone or else they'll hear your voice and they'll know who you are. That's really weird.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
Because I think he's my best friend since childhood. Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to... the way he stood there so casually, you know, with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. Yeah, okay, so they're not exactly trying to hide the fact that that's actually Kazuma. They want you to know that that's Kazuma. Okay.
Ah, yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
That Nipponese man, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop, and the mustache, and the jitters.
Oh, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo.
I mean, of the people that we've met, it's a very small list that he could possibly be referring to. Sorry, of the people that he's met alongside me. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by International Post only the other day.
I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Saseki-san, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
I never imagined that Mr. Reba would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn-up for the books.
A mad scientist? You mean Professor Hairbrain? Yes, might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Alright, well then I guess we know our next step. Our next stop is to head to the prison and do exactly that. Hey, we're back again, and we have some new things to discuss with you. The Reaper's varsity years. Do tell us, was he any less of a prick in college? I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days. I mean, I say that, but he wasn't actually that, like, he was pretty... He's a prick in the courtroom, but there, in that room, he was fine. You know? I mean, it's gonna take more than just one scene for me to get me to like him, but it was fine there.
That's right, he was studying law while I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
A good question.
For another time.
Unassuming, gentlemanly, and all-around nice fella, really.
Really? Are you sure we're talking about the same person here? Because that's the polar opposite of who he is now. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor Barrack von Zeeks. Way to lead the witness there, buddy. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question. Yes, that's what I said. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zeeks family, with all its great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood. Little darling? It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaver of the Bailey, no less.
Yes, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
I'm sorry. I don't know anymore.
Really? You know there was an event, but you didn't look into what the event actually was, really?
I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't... I'm guessing... I saw the prosecutor. Was it about telling him that he's prosecuting the case? I really have the heart to tell him the Lord Van Zeeks? Yeah, okay, I thought it was something like that. So, prosecutor, professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim who was in fact the sole investor in your work, is that correct?
As correct as 2 squared is 4, I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention, so I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life.
See, this guy's cool. I like this guy. You know, we can relate on a scientific nerd level, but like he's not trying to run from his mistakes. He's upfront, he's honest, he's compassionate, he's straightforward by saying, you know what, yes, this is my fault, I deserve to be held accountable, but god damn it, I would never willingly take the life of another human being. But you know what? This guy, round of applause for this guy. This guy's cool. This is someone you want to fight for. This is someone you're like, yes, I want to prove your innocence.
I'm a man of science, that's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe my hypothesis?
I don't, let's not push it that far. That implies that I believe that you actually created a machine capable of teleporting another human being across the planet, which obviously isn't true. But believing in your innocence, that's another story. And that I got you, I'm with you to the end of the line. So, you got me there. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your... yeah, you made that perfectly clear. But I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law, it's all I know, so you have to believe me, please.
When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters, as long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything.
Based harebrain? When the harebrain is the most base character in the game? Thank you for that, Professor.
And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court. Alright, Bruno. It's time to visit the Great Exhibition.
You've been chomping at the bit to do that the entire time, haven't you now? Sorry?
Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate it last. So, he says that, but I got some bad news for you all, which I'm sure you've seen by the time code of the video. We are not actually going to be going to the crime scene today to investigate, because as I said earlier, it's getting pretty late. I'd like to get some sleep so I can actually, you know, function properly tomorrow. But so you know, I just want to record this video so I could actually have, because I don't want to. I already missed a day earlier this week with this series. I didn't want to miss another day. I want to keep this consistent going forward. In case you're wondering why I've been flaky with this recently, I've just been neck deep in research for upcoming video analysis videos. I've been really pouring my heart and soul into researching and writing a lot of that recently. So that's why I haven't had as much time to, because I've just been I've been spending all my time doing that. So that's why I haven't been as consistent, because if this were all I was doing, I would have finished the game by now, but I haven't, because I really need to focus on writing the scripts and getting research done so I can have those come out when I want them to. I'll talk about this more in the September update, but, you know, so, you know, I don't really have the time to, I mean, I could finish the investigation if I wanted to, but that would probably take me into 3 AM, and I want to go to bed, so I'm gonna just get this rendered and uploaded, because I don't want to miss another day is my point here, so... You know, tomorrow we'll come back and we'll actually finish the first investigation, so it's going to extend the LP a day longer than I would have liked it to, but, you know, scheduling is a thing, so we're rolling with the punches, but, I hope you enjoyed the video, even though it's a little bit shorter than usual. Hope you still found something to enjoy here. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for next time. I hope to catch you all tomorrow for some more of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Goodbye.